If the rifle was the infantry's reach, the machine gun was its fist. From the surgical precision of the Bren to the relentless water-cooled endurance of the Vickers, British industry fueled a global war machine. By 1939, British doctrine had shifted to place the machine gun at the absolute center of the infantry section's fire plan. Today, we're uncovering every automatic support weapon in the British Combat Registry, 1939 to 1945. The Bren family, light machine guns. Bren Light Machine Gun Mark I. The Bren. The Bren Mark I is the high-quality masterpiece that armed the initial British Expeditionary Force and set the standard for squad-level fire. You'll recognize its intricate drum-type rear sight and the extra dial located on the bipod for fine elevation adjustments. It was a surgical tool of suppression, prized by early war sections for its absolute precision and a level of machining that made it one of the most reliable light machine guns in history. Bren Light Machine Gun Mark II, the section backbone. The Bren Mark II is the section backbone, the wartime workhorse simplified to meet the staggering production demands of total war. You'll recognize it by the move to a simpler leaf-type rear sight and the removal of the polished stainless steel barrel collar to save on critical materials. This was the most widely issued variant of the conflict, providing the reliable, sustained lead needed to anchor the British squad during the intense hedgerow fighting of the Normandy breakout. Bren Light Machine Gun Mark III, the specialized Bren. The Bren Mark III is a lightened, shortened variant designed for specialized units where every ounce of weight impacted mission success. You'll spot it by its significantly shorter barrel and a frame that was slimmed down to reduce the burden on the gunner. While perfectly suited for the dense, low-visibility jungles of Burma, it was also a favorite of airborne and light infantry units who required high-volume fire in a more compact, maneuverable package. Bren Light Machine Gun Mark IV, the final evolution. The Bren Mark IV is the final wartime iteration of the lineage, representing the peak of British efforts to maximize portability. It features a further reduced wooden buttstock assembly and a slimmed-down bipod designed to shave off every possible gram for the exhausted infantryman. Although it saw limited deployment in the closing months of 1945, its design reflected a hard-won focus on extreme battlefield mobility and ease of manufacture. Moving from the mobile section lightweights to the heavy iron that anchored the defensive lines, we meet the Vickers family. The Vickers family. Heavy and specialized. Vickers .303 Machine Gun Mark I. The Vickers. The Vickers .303 is the legendary water-cooled heavy machine gun that served as the primary defensive anchor for the British battalion. Instantly recognizable by its corrugated steel water cooling jacket and the massive stable tripod mount, it was a masterpiece of mechanical endurance. It was capable of sustained fire measured in thousands of rounds, allowing crews to maintain suppressive barrages for hours on end to turn entire sectors into impenetrable defensive zones. Vickers GO, gas-operated, number 1, Mark I. The Vickers K. The Vickers GO, famously known as the Vickers K, was the high-speed Sting of Britain's elite desert raiding units. You'll recognize its top-mounted circular pan magazine and its lightning-fast internal mechanism, originally designed for observers in the rear cockpits of aircraft. It was the primary offensive tool of the SAS and LRDG, screaming at over 1,000 rounds per minute to overwhelm enemy airfields and convoys during high-speed hit-and-run raids. Vickers .50-inch machine gun Mark V. The 50. The Vickers .50-inch Mark V, simply called the 50, was the heavy liquid-cooled punch utilized by the Royal Navy to protect the lifeblood of the Empire. It is a scaled-up monster featuring a massive water jacket and unique spade grip triggers that required a heavy-duty mount to manage its recoil. This was the fleet's primary anti-aircraft defense, providing heavy, sustained fire from the decks of destroyers and battleships to drive off the dive bombers of the Luftwaffe. From the infantry trenches to the thick steel of the armored divisions, we shift to the Besa family.
The Besa family. Armored vehicle armament. 7.92mm Besa machine gun. Tank Besa. The 7.92mm Besa was the standard air-cooled coaxial machine gun for nearly every British-built tank of the war. This gun is unique for utilizing the German 7.92mm Mauser cartridge rather than the standard British .303, a design choice made to ensure reliable belt feeding with rimless ammunition. It was the standard-issue workhorse for tanks like the Churchill and Cromwell, providing reliable, jam-free fire from the safety of the armored hull. The 15mm Besa machine gun. The anti-materiel Besa. The 15mm Besa is the heavy-caliber variant designed to give light armored vehicles a significant anti-materiel punch. It is easily identified by its long, thick barrel and a significantly heavier receiver compared to its 7.92mm counterpart. This weapon turned light tanks and armored cars into lethal hunters, capable of penetrating light vehicles and suppressing fortified infantry positions with a single high-velocity burst. Before these modern icons took over, the British still relied on the rugged legacy of the Great War to hold the back line. The Lewis family. Legacy and support. Lewis gun. .303 Mark I. The Lewis. The Lewis gun is the world-famous Lewis, a World War I veteran called back into service during the desperate days when a German invasion seemed imminent. It is recognizable by the massive circular cooling shroud around the barrel and the top-mounted record pan magazine that holds 47 rounds. Reissued to the Home Guard, airfield defense teams, and merchant naval vessels, it was a reliable old guard that provided vital automatic fire when every barrel mattered for the defense of the UK. By 1945, the British machine gun had evolved from a precision-machined luxury into a high-tech instrument of global victory. From the surgical accuracy of the Bren to the unstoppable endurance of the Vickers and the high-speed sting of the Vickers K, these were the tools that secured the Allied advance. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for our next deep dive into military history.